And so, with great lawyers, there's something that we can look for in patent law, and that is great law. Law is a very complicated subject, and one has to have a certain feel for it, I think. We know that in the novel Failsafe, for example, the translator character, Mr. Buck, as well as having a flair for speaking Russian, has a flair for law. And his law teachers say that he's so good at it that he needs to become a professor because he has such a fine ear for the nuances of justice. But in these days of social quantum theory, the theory of law, the metaphysics of jurisprudence, and the social innovation of the practice of law have to become one double-headed coin, one hybrid reality, like a public and private sector, or the sacred and the profane. In this dispensation of modern science, a lawyer at his best, at her best, has to keep up to date with the best thinking about the philosophy of law, which is always, in the end, a social philosophy. Here we prepare to strike one of the keynotes of my program, and that is that, like any other organization, a patent law firm is an organization and lends itself to the benefits that organization theory and administrative theory can bestow. A law firm is also a group, and the same things apply. Whatever can be said of a family, a group, a club, a society, an organization, an association, a firm, a corporation, all these things are properties, potentially or actually, in varying degrees, of a patent law firm. I'd like to mention that Russ Weinzimmer was honored about 4 years ago, being on the Ellen DeGeneres show on account of pro bono work that he did for a boy who was an inventor. And this is typical of the kind of thing that Russ wants to do. Russ is in fact a long-standing member of Mensa, and so is his wife. That's why Mensa has been defined as the organization where the eggheads go to hatch and catch. Russ is also a futurist, and so in describing for his firm and describing for his associate, Paul Flint, a man as flinty and sharp and decisive as his name, the qualities of efficiency suited to their work, we are beginning to describe the idea that is so vital in our time. An idea that's shocking at first but rapidly settles into the mind, and that is the idea of the legal office as a laboratory of justice. Now, for the moment, we'll leave aside Einstein and Heisenberg and Schrödinger and such like people and just think of a pre-relativity theory notion of the laboratory. If we would say to a lawyer, I guess that your firm is kind of a laboratory of legal science and jurisprudence and law practice, and he or she is certainly going to say, yeah, you better believe it. And then they'll say, well, that's kind of true. But then along comes the mathematician and says, in what respects? And before you know it, you are looking at the pursuit of excellence by a law firm in relation to the integrity of its own mission statement and its revisions.